These are days and nights of red and blood. Heroes will rise as the anchors fall.
Hey, what's up guys, it's Cypher and welcome to my long-awaited DK 1.5 to 1.6 build video. I apologize for delaying this video, but I had a lot of finals recently and I just finished my first semester of university. So now I'm off for about a month and a few weeks, so you can expect daily live streams and frequent video uploads. Let's get started. Now, before I get into this build video, I just want to explain that there is no such thing as the best PvP build for DKs, for any class in particular. You just have to find something that works for you and that you're comfortable with. I've used a variation of this build for the past 7 months and when this game released, and I've been doing well with it. And I know in 1.6 there's going to be a lot of changes coming into Dragonknight and all the skill lines are going to be looked at and changed, but I still feel like this build will be able to carry over with just some slight changes. So I'm going to make this video for you guys until 1.6, and then at 1.6 I'll make another build video. So let's get started with the skills. Our first bar is pretty much the same. Unstable Flame, I go back and forth between Unstable Flame and Draw Essence. Unstable Flame helps you compete better in the smaller encounters like the 1v2, 1v3, 1v4, but Draw Essence is better in the big scale 1v5 or greater encounters, and I go back and forth between Unstable Flame and Draw Essence. You can do the same thing. I prefer Unstable Flame just because I like those intimate 1v1 encounters better, and I'd like to dominate in those encounters a majority of the time. That's why I go with Unstable. Flame Lash is the best option for this morph because you get a free heal and you get a free DPS because the follow-up attack doesn't actually cost any magicka. Invasion for the knockdown. Some people have asked me if I should choose the other morph for the shield. I honestly think that getting a 5-second knockdown from max distance is better than getting a small 400-point shield. That's just my experience, and usually you don't want to spam invasion anyways because you want to preserve your stamina, so a longer knockdown is better. Dragonfire skill. This is the skill that's going to be nerfed in 1.6. Right now it reflects unlimited projectiles for 4 seconds, but in 1.6 it's only going to be able to reflect 4 at a time. This is a pretty big change, but I think with some minor adjustments to 1.6 and onward, we'll be able to adapt to this change, and I think it'll be fine. Talons, of course, it's going to be our main AoE. If you're surrounded by 5 or more people, you got to start spamming Talons because it's the only AoE you have on this build, and you just got to use it when you can. Take Flight. This is the execution type skill. It also helps us jump onto keeps, and it's just a very, very flashy skill, but it also does a decent amount of damage. It has a good radius, and it's also a very cheap ultimate, so it helps you manage your resources from the Battle Roar passive. So that's my first skill bar. It hasn't changed for a very long time, and it works perfectly fine, and this is how I like to play it, but like I said, you can change it up however you want. My second skill bar is still the same. We're still using Harness even after the nerf. It's always great to have a shield, a decently sized shield that's pretty inexpensive because you do get some magicka back, so it's almost like a free cast if you account for magicka regen, and it always helps when you're 1vxing to have a couple of shields on you that you can place before you jump in the fight, just so you don't get one shot off the bat. Cinderstorm, this is a great skill to throw down if you have a lot of people surrounding you in melee range. It's a 30% miss chance, and there's also some fire damage. I always throw this down and then put up Reflect, and then you're almost untouchable. There's not a lot of things that can hit you when you have Cinderstorm down and Reflect up. So it's just a great combo, and I think it's a great skill. Efficient Purge, this is something you always want to run in a majority of your PvP builds unless you are a Templar and you have the Cleanse, or you're a Nightblade and you have the Shadowy Disguise. If you get hit by Mark Target, if you get healing debuffed, if you get hit by Oil, Fire Ballista, this is really, really important to have, and it's also not very expensive with light armor. Obsidian Shield. Some of you saw in my previous video that I was using Healing Ward, and the reason I stopped using it was Healing Ward had its place, and I think it was a great skill. The only problem is with all the healing debuffs going around right now because of the Lethal Arrow becoming very popular, Healing Ward is actually halved by Lethal Arrow. So not only is your healing halved from Healing Ward, but if you are debuffed and you try casting Healing Ward, your actual shield will be halved. So I like Igneous Shield because it's a guaranteed 900 point shield for me. And remember, this scales off your health. If you want to increase your Igneous Shield then you have to get higher health. Dragon Blood, of course, it's the best self-heal for Dragon Knights and one of the best self-heals in the game. And also increases your stamina and health recovery. And actually, once I get into the attribute points and the glyphs for my setup, I'll explain to you something that I changed, which I feel like is a pretty major change, and it's helped me a lot in the past couple of days. Of course, Standard of Might for the ultimate. You can't argue with that. It's one of the best AoE ultimates in the game. Let's go straight into the armor setup. I'm still wearing 2 Warlock armor pieces and then 3 Warlock jewelry for the full set. And I'm also wearing 5-piece Seducer. Some of you are probably wondering why I'm not wearing any Undaunted pieces. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, there's a few Undaunted pieces that you can fit into this build and make it a lot better. I just haven't had the chance to go and do Undaunted dailies and farm them. A few sets that come to mind, I don't really know the names, but the one that provides ultimate, there's a 6% chance to give you 25 ultimate when you're hit. The Meteor one is also really good for Dragon Knights. We have a lot of dots. The Dwemer sphere that pops up and feeds you resources, that one would go great with this build. So there's a lot of Undaunted sets that would work out, and all you would have to do is get the head and shoulder, and you put that in, and then you replace your sword and shield with Seducer pieces, so you can still have Seducer, Warlock, and the 2 Undaunted sets. And that's what I plan to do. Now that I have a lot of free time, I'm going to be doing Undaunted dailies and try to farm those sets. Now, for the armor enchants, let's go to the attributes first, and then we'll get back to the armor enchants just so you can understand my decision behind this. I have 48 health, 7 magicka, 7 stamina. I could go more into stamina and less into health, but I'm fine with this because now I don't have to worry about my stamina as much, and I'll explain that in a second. This is a pretty good setup. You don't want to overcharge magicka. I know a lot of people like to go 2500 plus magicka, but I feel like that's a waste because of the soft caps that are currently in the game, which will probably be removed by 1.6 or a little bit after that, but for now they're still here, so you don't want to soft cap a skill. You want to try getting all your stats up there when it comes to 1vx. Maybe if you're in a group, you don't need as much stamina, or maybe if you're in a group, you can sacrifice some stamina for more health or magicka. But if you're 1vxing, you do need a decent amount of stamina, magicka, and health, and this is a good setup that I like. 2400 magicka, 2900 health, and with my sword and shield out, 1700 stamina. Now let's go into the glyphs really quickly. On my 2 big pieces, I have magicka. I have magicka on almost all the pieces except 2 small stamina pieces, and that's good enough to get me to 1700. You can change this up however you feel comfortable with. If you want to sacrifice more health for more stamina, if you feel like you're running out of stamina, that works out. I used to do that, but recently I changed one of my glyphs, one of my jewelry glyphs. So right now for my jewelry glyphs, I have 2 spell damage and then stamina recovery. The reason I went stamina recovery is because I felt like I was missing out from the Dragon Blood ability. It increases your stamina recovery for 20 seconds by 30%. So you're not really getting much out of that if you don't have a decent stamina recovery. So by adding 18 stamina recovery, it pushes my stamina recovery up to 87. And with Dragon Blood activated, it actually pushes me up to 113 stamina recovery, which is a great amount of stamina recovery to have, especially if you're blocking a lot, you're getting hit a lot. You want to have high stamina recovery so you can keep block up, so you can be able to dodge roll and CC break. Stamina is really important, especially if you're running solo, 1v1 or 1vx. It's one of the most important skills to have and manage. So that's why I went with the stamina recovery instead of the cost reduction. And I'm doing fine on the cost reduction because the cost reduction itself, you never actually got the full amount because I'm already wearing light armor and I already have all these reduction on me. The cost reduction is a 21 reduction on all your abilities, but in reality it was only 13 points. You only got 13 out of the 21 because of light armor and the passives you already have for spell reduction. So I think stamina recovery is a much better option, but you can go with whatever you feel like going with. Sword and shield, Torix Pact for the 8 spell damage, and the enchant I have on the sword is disease, and this is the enchant that I recommend you use. If you want to use something else, Crushing is also good because it increases your whip damage. But disease and crushing, those are the two that I would go with. On my resto, I also have disease. I could switch this out for something more useful, but I like stacking disease because of the healing debuff it provides, and having it on both your weapons almost guarantees you'll land it in a decently long fight. So, of course, I have Impen on all the Seducer pieces and on my shield. Impen right now is overpowered, and you kind of need to have it unless you're running a heavy shield build or a very tanky build that can take crit damage, but you don't want to be crit while wearing light armor like this. You will get one shot from wrecking blows, from lethal arrows. You want to try your best not to get crit, and that's why we're running 6 pieces of Impen. So that's all I have for this build. I like to make it short and sweet so you guys understand what's going on. My boon is the Apprentice, which is spell penetration increased, and I didn't really do any testing with this. I didn't actually test how much DPS the DPS increase. I haven't really tested it, but I do feel like it does make a difference. If you don't want to go with the Apprentice, you can go with the Tower to up your stamina, or maybe with the I think, yeah, the Tower is for stamina, or it might be for health, but whichever one boosts your stamina, that's the second option I would go with. You don't want to go with the Magic Recovery one because you're already soft cap on Magic Recovery, or you should be. So that's all I have for this build. If you guys have any questions, please leave a comment below. I am looking forward to answering any questions you guys have. If you're wondering where the Nightblade build video is, that's going to be up later tomorrow or after tomorrow. Now that I'm back, I have a lot of free time, and hopefully I'll be able to upload a lot more frequently. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys soon with another PvP build video and another PvP montage. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I will see you guys soon.